Welcome back. Today we are chatting about dead drops. Now, dead drops are one of the three basic ways that you can propel your player through an immersive, fun treasure scavenger hunt, as I like to just call adventures. If you haven't seen the previous two videos in this kind of series, I'd recommend checking them out. The first one's just about the formula, and the second one talks about the different types of gambits: dead drops, decodes, and handoffs. First and foremost, a dead drop is any time an envelope or a box or a clue or instructions is literally left somewhere in the wild. Versus a handoff, which you could probably guess what that is, but just in case you can't, somebody literally handing something, oftentimes at a restaurant or a shop or a bar. And then decodes, which is figuring out some type of puzzle, decrypting a message, solving something that tells you where to go next. These can be combined, but right now we'll just talk about dead drops. So, the pros. The pros of the dead drop is very simple. It's extremely exciting. It is so exciting to be told where to go and find something out in the wild. The most basic idea of dead drops is geocaching. Oftentimes there's some puzzle components too, but there's always something that you literally find out in the wild. I am apprehensive when it comes to geocaching because the one big downside is there is nothing keeping some random person from finding it and destroying it or hiding it or ruining it, right? That's kind of the unfortunate side of geocaching, is it's never 100% safe. Usually it's fine because it's pretty well hidden and it's just a little sheet of paper, but that brings me to the cons and of the cons of dead drops, and that is that they're very risky. You are literally putting an envelope out in a public place and you are leaving it there to be found. And so you need to put pieces in place to keep random people from finding it and potentially derailing the entire adventure. That's where I get to my recommendations. So here are my recommendations when you're going to do a dead drop. And the first one is you should make it well hidden. You should absolutely make these dead drops very well hidden, and it pairs nicely with the second one. Make it very descriptive. The clues that lead to this dead drop should be extremely descriptive, just because you don't want to run the risk of their brain going in the other direction anyway. I'm a big proponent of being very clear with descriptions. I don't like ambiguous riddles that could send you to one of 19 different restaurants or parks or something like that. It goes in with a whole signpost mentality. You always want your player to know that they're on the right track, even if they haven't figured it out yet. And figuring it out and still not quite knowing what to do really sucks. And so you want to make sure that you're descriptive. And then the better hidden it is and the more descriptive your clues are, the easier, basically the better you'll feel once you drop this envelope and go to the next stop and hope that they find it before somebody else does. My contingency with this is, I personally, when people hire me to do these, there's always somebody that has eyes on that drop until the person is either super close or grabs it. It depends on the location, how risky, how public, but I personally like to do that. It's also why people hire me, is to make sure that works. But just in case you're doing this as one person and you don't have time to sit and watch and then try to run to the next stop, definitely recommend making it easily found, but also very, very well hidden. And that just comes with being descriptive. Another rule: no boxes or chests. You'll see behind me I have a whole bunch of big and little treasure chests. In today's day and age, people are really jumpy about boxes being left in the middle of places. So especially if it's a public place, street corners, parks, definitely don't do a box. If you're going to do a box, you need to be sitting on it the entire time until the last second. But just reduce the risk. Work with a restaurant. Have them find a dead drop envelope that sends them to a restaurant where you have one of these boxes and you've worked with the manager, just so everything's safe. If you're going to do a chest, obviously you have something really important that they find in there. And how bad is it if the police get called and now there's a bomb squad and you have to be like, no, there's stuff, and your player arrives and the whole thing is kind of done. So no boxes. Another thing that I recommend doing is when you're going to do an envelope, have it be an envelope with their name. Now this seems pretty obvious, like why not just have all the envelopes have their name? But sometimes you might want to have a clue or something encrypted on the front, or I like to write in things like woo, or like great job, or you're doing great. But if you have, if they find an envelope in the hand of a statue in the middle of a town square and it says Jeremiah on it, if somebody who's not Jeremiah finds it, there's a good chance that they might just be like, okay, this is clearly for like a treasure hunt, I'm gonna leave it be. And it reduces the risk of someone being like, what's this? And opening it and pulling out the stuff and then just being like, oh, I put it back, and kind of ruining the experience. So name on the envelope's another one. The final thing is when you drop this, you're gonna take a picture close up, you're gonna scoot back and take another picture, and you're gonna scoot even further back and take another picture, just in case it gets stolen, or more importantly, just in case your player is there but they missed some piece of information, or you didn't make it descriptive enough and you need to pull the rip cord because they need to move to the next stop. Being able to just text them a photo of what they're looking for and where is just your final eject button, right? We want this to be immersive and we want it to be mysterious, but the most important thing when you're doing this is that they finish the adventure. So making sure you have those stopgaps helps. And then last but not least, if it's a really, really risky dead drop, have an extra, have a contingency, have something else. So just in case the envelope gets stolen or you realize that it's not going to work, having an extra always helps. Or at least have a picture of what was written in there, and that works the same with taking a picture there. To recap, dead drops are awesome. They're super fun, very risky. Envelopes, keep them marked. Don't do big chests and boxes. If you have the bandwidth or somebody to help, have somebody there that's kind of in the wings ready to intercept a random person. Be like, oh, it's just a fun treasure scavenger hunt. That's all it is. And they're like, oh, cool. And then they keep walking. And then, yeah, well hidden and also descriptive. Always err on the side of making it too easy than too hard. That's it for dead drops. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions further, please put them in the comments. The next couple videos, I'm going to be talking about decodes and handoffs, and then I'm going to go back to some of the nitty-gritty Caesar cipher and, sightline gambit and kind of fun, specific things that you can utilize. But this is the foundation that's going to make building this easier. And when the day of comes and you're super stressed out, hopefully all this information will have helped you shore up some of those potential pitfalls that could ruin the whole thing. If you like this, please like and subscribe. It really helps me. I do also have a Patreon at patreon.com/constructedadventures. You can support me if you would like. Otherwise, best of luck and happy adventuring.